दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूताले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नाना शास्त्र विचारेक निपुनो सधर्म संस्थापकं लोकानां हितकारिणो त्रिभुवने महान्यो शरण्याकरम् राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद्र भजना नंदे नमत्तालिकयं वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजगो श्रीजीव गोपालकं। Hare Krishna. So welcome once again everyone for today's discussion. We are reading from Upadeshamrita, and we are going to start with the third mantra. Before we do that, just a quick recap of what we have discussed so far. Let's recite the mantras. We'll recite the first two mantras and very brief recap of these two mantras, and then we'll resume our discussion from text number 3. Text number 1. Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jivva vegam udarupashtra vegam etan vegan yovishahet adhiraha sarvam mam prithvim sashishyat. One second. Yeah. So this is text 1 of Nectar of Instruction, where Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the action of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So the instructions of Upadeshamrita begins with the mind and sense control. Is not that mind and sense control is the necessity in the path of bhakti, is a prerequisite. Not I would not say, but it's actually needed, in any way on the path of yoga to make advancement. So we don't just restrain or refrain from engaging mind and senses, but the understanding on the bhakti margas, we engage everything in the service of the Lord. So we have given a very simple formula how to deal with this controlling mind and senses. In the first mantra, if you see, this 6 urges can be classified into the gross and the subtle. The gross is, jivva, udar, upashta, and your subtle was vachaha, vacho vegam, manasa vegam, and krodha vegam. So for the gross senses to be controlled, jivvaha, the first thing is tongue, and the function of the tongue here is to eat. So if you want to control our gross senses, so the one very important factor, as we discussed, and Prabhupada mentions in the Prabhupada also, is to only eat Krishna Prasadam. Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, verse number 13, Yagna Shishta Shanaha Shanto, that particular word, Muchanti Sarvakil Vishaha. If somebody eats even a vegetarian diet, but if it is not offered to Krishna, if it's not offered to Lord, if it is not offered as sacrifice first and then honored as prasadam, then he eats only a sin. So as we accumulate sin to that degree, our senses becomes contaminated and pushes us towards performing those sinful activities. There was a part on uh, restraining the gross senses. When it comes to subtle senses, vacho vegam, manasa vegam, krodha vegam. For vacho vegam, we had discussed subtle are more difficult in that sense. And we have discussed for all three elements which I mentioned here, simple one line point. We should try to speak as much as possible about Krishna. And the best way is how everyone should have, all of you are now studying Bhakti Shastri, about to conclude Bhakti Shastri, we should have some preaching engagement. And the easiest preaching engagement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or the Gaudiya Parampara or Srila Prabhupada gave us is book distribution. Every week go out book distribution, nobody can claim now that they don't know about what to speak. At least we know how to, speak about what is there in the book. So we should have. So that's the aspect of Vachavegam. So we were talking about the quota. Different senses have their own quota. When we exhaust it, then we don't feel like much engaging it. Manaha, mind. The best way to engage the mind is to take responsibility on behalf of Guru and Gauranga. When we do so, then our mind doesn't waver too much. Second aspect of controlling the mind was before you can speak about Krishna, your intelligence has to be sharpened, which means you have to hear, you have to contemplate, and your mind eventually would be thinking, feeling, willing on that direction. So if you take to the service of preaching, outreach opportunities, engage in outreach opportunities, then your mind would be absorbed in hearing and reading. That's how the mind gets purified and the needs and the urges of the mind are controlled. And the last is anger. Anger has to be gradually taken care. It has to be purified. It gets purified as we move from the I consciousness to the we consciousness. Prabhupada gives an example. It is not that anger is all bad. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry at Jagai and Madai. Arjuna was angry at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Hanumanji was angry when he was fighting on behalf of Lord Ram to Ravana. So anger has to be gradually purified and becomes purified when we move from the I to the we consciousness. So we don't use anger for oneself, but we engage anger in the service of the Lord if the Lord or the Vaishnavas are offended like that. That's a part of the first verse. Moving to the next number, text number 2. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sangascha lalyam cha Shadbhakta Vinashati. Screen sharing is enabled if any of the admins want to share the screen for the verses. So translation, second verse talked about other 6 faults. First was the Vegas, and next is the faults that should be given up. What are the 6 faults? One's devotion service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. Atya ahara, ati ahar, eating more than necessary. That's one meaning. Second is collecting more funds than necessary required. Then prayashas, over endeavoring for mundane things. Third, prajalpaha, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matter. Fourth, niyam agraha. Niyam agraha had 2 aspects of meaning. Niyam agraha, too attached to the niyama, that we forget the spirit behind it. We become too caught up with the regulation, rules and regulation, but forget what is the spirit behind it. Niyam agraha, which means too relaxed in practicing the rules. Example is of Ekadashi. Somebody becomes so staunch in following Ekadashi Vrata in the sense of only Nirjala. But while practicing Nirjala, he has forgotten the purpose of practicing Nirjala Vrat on Ekadashi is to engage more remembrance and more service of the Lord. So then the time that we are saving should be used in chanting, reading, and hearing. But if that is missed, and somebody becomes proud of the fact that, see how great I am following such rules so strictly, and look at you, or else somebody takes that as an excuse. No, I cannot go out and preach. I cannot go for book distribution. I cannot go for an arm. I've done Rijala. If I speak, chant loudly, I'll become thirsty. If I go out for preaching, my body will become weak. I'll have to eat. Then that's not the idea of it. Well, if you need to eat Ekadashi Prasadam, just so that you can do your services, that's the purpose of it, not that too much. And second is Niyamagraha, not following only. That was aspect here. Then Jana Sangha. Jana Sangha means associating with worldly minded people, or not Krishna conscious, and lalyam, being greedy for mundane achievements. So 6 items like this, Shadbhir Bhaktir Vinashati. It destroys Bhakti. The summary substance of this verse, I can't just get another recap of each element, it'll take time here, is if you look at it, the life, Prabhupada begins the purport with the crux of this whole verse. Human life is meant for plain living and high thinking, which means we should do the needful action to maintain the body, while everything else should be engaged in the service of the Lord. And how to engage in the service of the Lord? Nimitta Matam Bhavasavisachi in 11th canto, Bhagavad Gita. There in this verse and the following verse, Krishna Prabhupada says, become an instrument in the hands of Krishna means become an instrument in the hands of Guru. Become an instrument in the hands of Guru means to live a life in accordance with the instructions of the spiritual master. In other words, we have to live a life under the guidance of our seniors or senior Vaishnavas or Guru. Then our life is perfected, so that we would not then cross the limits, because now we don't make decisions all by ourselves. We work under the guidance, and then we know what is right, what is wrong, how much we need to work, where do we need to say stop. Stop is enough. Just like Prayasha's concept in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami makes a point, even to build big temples is Prayashas. We should not get involved in over endeavor. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was giving a class on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu back in Vrindavan, the famous series of lectures, I believe that was at Radha Damodar temple, this point was, Prabhupada read this point, and Prabhupada said, you should cut the coat according to the size that you can wear, which means it depends on individual's capacity. If individual has a capacity to build a temple and maintain Krishna consciousness and promote Krishna consciousness, then he should do it. Not that, you have a capacity, still you don't serve. Well, if you don't have a capacity, you should not do it. But if you have a capacity and it is going to facilitate service, more outreach, then it should be done. So Prabhupada said, you should cut the coat. This is an English phrase. Some of you might, or most of you might be aware. I'm paraphrasing it. I could be a little bit wrong here and there with the phrase. You should cut the coat according to the size of an individual. So it depends on your ability. That's how Prabhupada addressed this particular concern of prayashas, which Rupa Goswami says we should not get involved in building big temples. All right. And Lolium Chai is greedy for. Ultimately, it's all about bodily consciousness, more pleasure and more comfort for the body. That's what leads us to Atihara, Priyashas, Prajalpa, everything like that. All right, let's come to text number 3 for today. And to conclude with this second verse, Prabhupada highlights a very important point where Prabhupada says, Janasanga Zalalyamcha, Janasanga gave up associated worldly-minded people. Prabhupada concludes the second verse, purport, reading the last paragraph. This Krishna consciousness movement offers a spiritual community that can bring about a peaceful condition of the world. Every living intelligent man should purify his consciousness and rid himself of the above-mentioned 6 hindrances of devotional service by taking wholehearted shelter of this Krishna consciousness movement. The purpose of ISKCON, the last paragraph of the mantra 2 purports. That's the purpose of ISKCON, to give an opportunity. All right, let's take a look of text number 3. Next time onward, I'll try to have something on my presentation. I just got my laptop now, but didn't have much time, but we'll try to put something for all of you. So, okay, text number 3. Ussaha nishaya dharyat tattat karma pravartanat sangatyaga sato vrittihi shadbhe bhakti prasidhyati. What meaning? Ussahat, by enthusiasm. Nishayat, by confidence. Dharyat, by patience. Tat karma, various activities favorable for devotional service. Pavartanat, one should be practiced or should be performed. Sangatyaga, giving up association of non-devotees. Sataha, Sataha Vritti. Sataha means great previous acharyas. Vrittihi, by following in the footsteps. If you remember, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's commentary on Upadeshamrita is called as Anuvrittihi. That is Satavrittihi. Sata means great sages. Anuvrittihi. Anu means to follow the great sages. Anuvrittihi, Satavritti is more or less the same meaning. Satavrittihi. And then Shadbihi, by these six. Bhaktihi, devotional service. Prasidhyati, advances or becomes successful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All right, let's read the translation. Then I'll give you some introduction to the source and also introduction to the purport, how Prabhupada speaks about these elements in the purport, and then we'll begin reading para by para, and then we'll open the forum for discussion if anyone wants to add or ask something. All right, translation. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. First, being enthusiastic. Second, endeavoring with confidence. Maybe I can just make one point line here. Being enthusiastic, the point is, Prabhupada begins the conversation even for mundane affairs, just like when you get a job, how excited you are, and when you're excited and enthusiastic about it, you reach in time, you're attentive to the details. So the point is, in any fields, even in mundane activities, you can only achieve success when you maintain a certain amount of enthusiasm. And we have an experience when, after working for a while, when we begin to think, oh, why Monday again? I have to go to office again. Then is a sign we have lost interest, and at that point of time, we begin looking for alternative job, isn't it? So enthusiasm is the basic thing which is needed in any field to succeed. Why not in bhakti? The enthusiasm in the bhakti is based on knowledge. That would be another subject matter here. All of these elements happens on the basis of knowledge. If it is not on the basis of knowledge, then even if a sadhaka or the beginner, let's say a neophyte who just started practicing, he might be enthusiastic. In fact, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur and our acharyas, they call it, this is just, without having proper knowledge, without having proper faith, that enthusiasm is very short-lived. Such individuals are super excited, enthusiastic about everything, but the enthusiasm doesn't long. It's some tarala, something, they named it like that. Anyways, endeavoring with confidence, which means only Krishna is my protector. Third, being patient. Dhairyat. Fourth, acting according to regulative principles. Regulative principles, but Srimad Bhagavatam gives us 9 regulative principles in that way. Prahlad Maharaj, Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Srila Rupa Goswami gives us 64 devotional principles, of which 5 were declared by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the most potent and most important. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, Bhagavata, Shravana, Mathuravasa, Srimurtira, Shraddhaya, Sevana. We'll take a look at it. These are the 5 things, A, B, C, D, we should call it. Then 5th is abandoning the association of non-devotees. Okay. And 6th, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So, just like for the very first verse, we kind of divided those elements into gross and subtle. Similarly, the 6 elements can be described or divided into 4 components. As I said, I'm sorry, I don't have a presentation show. So if you want to make a note for yourself, you can make a note. The 4 components that this verse talks about is attitude, behavior, character, and direction. So this verse gives us A, B, C, D formula. This verse defines A, B, C, D formula. A for attitude, Ussahan, Nishya, Dharya. The first line defines the attitude of a sadhaka, the right attitude. Then B, A for attitude, B for behavior is Sangatyagat, wherein we give the association of non-devotees. Then C refers to character, that is Tat Tat Karma Parvartanat, which means following the rules and regulations which are prescribed for the path of bhakti. And D refers to direction. In other words, how do we know? How do we align ourselves? Where are we going? Who directs us? Who gives the guidance, direction? That is Sato Vrittihi. So, like this, the ABCD formula, essential aspect of devotional life is given in this verse. A for attitude, Ussaha Nishadharya, once again. B for behavior, that is giving a bad association, Sangatyaga. C for character, that is Tat Tat Karma Pavardhanat, following the rules and regulations. And D refers to direction, that is Shato or Sato Vrittihi, like that. So here, Srila Prabhupada, this is just a brief introduction, and the puppet, Prabhupada discusses two high-level points in the puppet. So the first aspect of the puppet is what is the impetus for bhakti? And the second high-level point under which this whole puppet is kind of defined is the favorable conditions. These six are favorable conditions. So if you look at the way Prabhupada has written his purpose to these verses, first he will set a scene, and then he would talk about that. What other things has to be given of the faults in the previous verses. So similarly here, Prabhupada's introduction and the puppet here is focuses on impetus for bhakti, what all is required, and second aspect is favorable conditions. What is the impetus for bhakti? First of all, Prabhupada begins with what is not bhakti. What is bhakti and what is not bhakti is how Srila Prabhupada begins the discussion. The first paragraph talks about that, what is not bhakti, and then what is bhakti. So when bhakti has been clarified with Anya Bhilashita Shunyam, as you can see, the first paragraph, we'll start reading in a short while, just to give you a little bit of overview. Then Prabhupada talks about how to perform bhakti, how bhakti is carried out. And then the verse is quoted Shavanam Kirtana Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. And then Prabhupada, there is a question, and how to perform. One is those things, and Tadviti Pranipatana, following the Guru. And then why to perform bhakti? Because it is rare, blissful, and it is liberating. That takes us to the next paragraph. And finally, who can perform and where to perform. So let's take a look at the impetus of bhakti. Let's start with the puppets. That is the first part of the puppet here. Okay. There are 6 questions which are raised or answered by Srila Prabhupada in the first 2.5 pages of the puppet. So somebody would like to start reading? We have a couple of hands up. Mother Medhavni, your hand is up. We can begin with you. Paragraph. I hope you've written some of these points. This is very important for just to get some clarity. If you need it, I can repeat that. And this week is also not possible. I'm out for a week. In fact, next week. Maybe sometime in future, after 2-3 weeks. November will be a little okay first week for me. I can prepare these notes and give it to you. Or else I hope somebody has made notes you can share in the group so everyone can refer some of the initial overview. All right, Mother Medhavni, please read the first paragraph.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranams. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative
ecstasy.
Its substance is practical activity. Srila Rupa Goswami.
Yeah, sorry for that. I'll just kind of be adding points in between. The beauty of this purports of these books here, Prabhupada's opening remark is always a punch. Just like you know, mantra 2, you saw the punching remark. As I said, this is the core of the verse. Go back to mantra 2, and Prabhupada's mantra 2 purport begins with, human life is meant for plain living and high thinking. Isn't that a slogan that we always say? Simple living, high thinking. And now this is another famous statement. I'm pretty sure all of you would know of it, where this third verse purport begins, Bhakti is not about sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Wow. Now, rest of the verse Purport goes on. Please continue now. Mother.
A devotional service is not okay. Its substance is practical activity. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 has defined devotional service as follows. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnano shilanam bhaktiruttama. Uttama Bhakti or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruit of karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. Bhakti is a sort of...
Yeah, that's the first part. So what is kind of not bhakti? Should be free from this. Next, Hainam Prabhu, please you can read. What is bhakti? Is the second part, Papa, second paragraph Papa talks about.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason, it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting materialistic activities. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical, mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Shri Prahlad Maharaj recommends Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Badasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. The 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. Hearing the name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chanting His glories, remembering the Lord, serving the Lord's feet, worshipping the deity, offering obeisances unto the Lord, acting as the Lord's servant, making friends with the Lord, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, we can finish the next paragraph. Shravanam.
Yeah, Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in Bhagavad Gita 4.34. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upatekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
Continue the next paragraph also.
It is further recommended in the Mundaka Upanishad that Vijñārtam Sagurum Eva Abhigachet. To understand that transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, this method of submissively receiving transcendental confidential knowledge is not merely based on mental speculation. In this regard, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhakyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij.
Hare Krishna. So, what all has happened so far in the purport? So, the very first paragraph, Prabhupada mentions what is not bhakti. Devotional service is not about sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Then Prabhupada begins to speak about what is bhakti. And for that, Prabhupada quotes the definition of bhakti given by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavrtam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttamaha. So bhakti is a subject matter of cultivation. That's the next paragraph from where Hainam Prabhu began to speak. Bhakti is sort of cultivation. So the word bhakti is very interesting. If you look at how Prabhupada defines bhakti, for example, Srimad Bhagavatam, savai pumsam paro bhaktir. That's particular verse there comes where Prabhupada defines bhakti as devotional service. So that's the point Prabhupada is making here. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation, which means active engagement like this. It's not a subject matter of idle meditation, which is a part of jnanis. or Ashtanga yogis for that reason, but not for a bhakti yogi that way. So how it has to be performed? Then Prabhupada quotes, because a matter of cultivation, bhakti is a matter of cultivation. Then Prabhupada quotes the famous verse by Prahlad Maharaj, Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam. In other words, one should develop attachment to any of these 9 limbs of bhakti. It could be to Shavanam, it could be to Kirtanam, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, like this. And Prabhupada then defines those 9 items like this. Now, third aspect, which is discussed so far, which was read again by Harinam Prabhu in the next paragraph, was how to perform bhakti. What is not bhakti? What is bhakti? And how to perform bhakti? It has to be done under the guidance of a guru. Tadvidi Pranipadana. Now, this is very important subject matter because we're going to talk about Tat Karma Pavartana, or let's say Niyam Agraha, Niyam Agraha. One niyama which is very important, which just cannot be given up, is to accept Guru. Just like chanting 16 now, this cannot be given up. So this is something which we have to follow. So Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevya Updekshanti Tegnanam Gnanidas Tattva Darshana. Prabhupada mentions about that. And then Prabhupada says, quotes Munduka Upanishad, Tad Vijnanatham Sa Guru Eva. If you want to understand the science of bhakti, one has to approach a bona fide spiritual master. And finally, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmande Brahmite Gone, Bhagavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Beach, like this. Now, in the next paragraph, before Prabhupada begins to speak about the favorable condition, Prabhupada is going to speak about why to perform bhakti, who can perform bhakti, and where to perform. So 3 questions Prabhupada is going to address in the next paragraph. Who would like to read? Madhurati Manjri, please go ahead and read the next paragraph.
Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhuji, I'm audible?
Yes, Mother.
In the course of traversing the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhakti Lata, the creeper of devotional service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 19.151. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature Anandamaya, pleasure-seeking. They actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, the living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere.
So who can perform bhakti? Such opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. And where can you perform bhakti is where Madhurati Manji is going to read next. Go ahead.
The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is given such a chance to humanity at large. If by fortune one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens.
All right. So this is about impetus for bhakti. In other words, what is bhakti and why one would take a bhakti. And that's what Prabhupada mentions here in just the paragraph. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature Anandamaya, pleasure seeking. They actually want to be free from the confinement of this world of conditional happiness, but not knowing the process of liberation, they're bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another. So the impetus is from knowledge. So we understand what's our situation and where we want to go. That inspires an individual to take to the path of bhakti. What is bhakti? What is not bhakti? How to perform bhakti? Where to perform bhakti? Who takes to bhakti? That all has been addressed. Now, let's begin our discussion. This is the second aspect of the purport is favorable conditions. 6 favorable conditions. Of that, the first is usaha. That is enthusiasm. So here Prabhupada is going to mention 2 things. Why utsaha is needed, as I said in the opening remark of this discussion. For success in any path, we need enthusiasm, and it's just a basic human nature. We are enthusiastic for so many things in mundane affairs. So how can we dull-headed morose, lazy when it comes to devotional life. I remember we had first Rath Yatra in Columbus. This was be somewhere around 2009 or 2010. But the Malati, one of the historical and very famous personalities from the pages of Lilamrita and of the part of Prabhupada pastimes. So Mother Malati, I don't know now, but at that point of time, she used to be GBC of that area. So I remember before we went out for a theatre, Mother Malati came and spoke to all of us. Dear devotees, it's a historical day for the devotees of Columbus. For the first time, we're going to have a Rath Yatra festival in Columbus, Ohio, America. And like that, she spoke, she shared some of her experience of the first Rath Yatra festivals, etc. And then she made a very interesting request. And I was just thinking, oh, really? Why would she have to say like this? And she said, so devotees, today we're going to go out and share the joy of Krishna consciousness with others. But others will only take the joy of Krishna consciousness when they see you happy and smiling. So when you step out, please have a nice smile on your face. Don't go with a sad or morose face, because if you do that, then it becomes the worst advertisement. So when you step out, be happy, because then that happiness becomes contagious. I was thinking, oh, really? How much we are beaten down by material energy that even while practicing bhakti, we are not happy. That she had to categorically mention this point. So be enthusiastic about it. So why that is mentioned in this purport. And then about what is enthusiasm means. Prabhupada gives a brilliant point. Enthusiasm means endeavor with intelligence. We'll take a look at it, what Prabhupada says. All right. Who would like to read next? We have hands up. Mother Tarani Gopika, please go ahead.
One should accept this opportunity to return home back to Godhead very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. Even in the material world, one has to be very enthusiastic in his particular field of activity in order to become successful. A student, businessman, artist, or anyone else who wants success in his line must be enthusiastic. Similarly, one has to be very enthusiastic in devotional service. Enthusiasm means action, but action for whom? The answer is that one should always act for Krishna. Krishna Artha Kila Cheshta Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. In all phases of life, one has to perform devotional activities under the direction of spiritual master in order to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. It is not that one has to confine or narrow one's activities. Krishna is all pervading, therefore, nothing is independent of Krishna. As Krishna himself states in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nacha ham teshva avasthitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one has to make everything favorable for Krishna's service. For example, at present we are using a dictaphone. The materialist who invented this machine intended it for businessmen or writers of mundane subject matters. He certainly never thought of using the dictaphone in God's service, but we are using this dictaphone to write Krishna conscious literature. Of course, the manufacture of the dictaphone is wholly within the energy of Krishna. All the parts of the instrument, including the electronic functions, are made from different combinations and interactions of the 5 basic types of material energy, namely Bhumi, Jal, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. The inventor used his brain to make this complicated machine, and his brain, as well as the ingredients, were supplied by Krishna. According to the statement of Krishna, Matsthani Sarva Bhutani, everything is depending on my energy. Thus, the devotee can understand that since nothing is independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be dovetailed in his service. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So just to paraphrase what Mother have just read, we are on the topic of Usaha, the first favorable condition. Again, the opening lines are very powerful. Prabhupada says one should accept this opportunity to return home back to Godhead very enthusiastically. Why is being described, why there should be enthusiasm. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful. And then Prabhupada gives an example, even in the material world for mundane activities, people are enthusiastic. Enthusiasm means what? Means action. Action for whom? Krishna. Krishnartha kila cheshtaha. For the pleasure of Krishna. But what is enthusiasm means? Prabhupada haven't defined in this paragraph. Prabhupada is going to define in the next paragraph. Then we'll take a look at it and we'll come back here. What was read, why Prabhupada quoted Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtinah. So let's read the next paragraph, then we'll come back here. Who's the next would you like to read? All right, Mother Leela Nandani, please read the next paragraph.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha or enthusiasm. The devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. The execution of devotional service is not a matter of idle meditation but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. This
Hare
activities
Krishna.
must be executed with
This is
Krishna.
okay. This finishes our discussion, enthusiasm. So, enthusiasm, Prabhupada gives a definition what Usaha is, what Mother Leela just read. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called Usaha. Now, execute with intelligence in Krishna consciousness, what does it mean? Therefore, Prabhupada quoted Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtinha. Nothing is independent of Krishna. Krishna is, Prabhupada says, by me in man manifested form, this entire universe pervaded, all beings are me, but I'm not in them, like that. And then Prabhupada gives an example of using a dictaphone. We may or may not understand how Krishna is the source or the cause behind it, but actually it is by Krishna's will only this dictaphone, because the foundational elements are given by Krishna, and therefore the devotee uses that dictaphone in the service of the Krishna. Prabhupada says the one who designed dictaphone would not or may not have thought how this could have been used, but the devotee having the intelligence, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina, knowing that everything comes from Krishna, therefore uses everything in the service of Krishna. And how you use this? Yukta Vairagya principle. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. Like that, Prabhupada explains. So, Usaha, why it is needed and what is it is clearly defined. So, question comes, how can we sustain enthusiasm? That has not been addressed. All right? That is a question for contemplation. How can we sustain enthusiasm? One thing about enthusiasm is, conditional enthusiasm is, we often become enthusiastic when something is new to us. Do you remember in your school life, every year when we'll graduate and go to the next batch, and our parents will go to the market and they'll buy a new bundle of books. How nice they will smell, how nice they will look. And how many of you were excited to open on that day and flip through the pages? Kya hai, kya hai, kya hai, kya hai? Haath khada karo. And once the school will start, then we don't even want to touch it. Again, haath khada karo. Jo agree karte hain. Yes or no? So there is a sense of enthusiasm and newness like that. Similarly in the dresses on the day of festival, we're so excited. The rest of the year, our mother might have to, help us get ready when we're young. But when it is a day of festival, we want to get dressed up because there's going to be new dress. So for anything new, there is a sense of enthusiasm. So question is, how do we sustain enthusiasm now? Any thoughts or any reflection? Sustain, consistency. How can we bring that? So there are a couple of hands up. So if in case, I don't know if this is virtual hands are up for reading. You can just raise the actual hand so I know who wants to give the answer. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Those who have not yet taken part, let's hear from them so far. ये बाकी लोगों का कैमरा क्यों बंद है? Oh, we have a surprise quiz, huh? Attendance will be marked according to that quota only. Not that you switch your camera or where is our Prasad and Mother Pallavi? Madan Mohan Mohini. Mother Madan Mohan Mohini. Mother Varsana, Mahapavani Rajeshwari Mataji, Ojaswi Prabhu, Shivam Prabhu. Okay, some of them have actually due permission because are young kids, okay. Mother Kishori Rani, you want to say, give an answer? Oops, sorry.
By being actively associated in devotional service in the association of devotees, hearing, doing our.
Correct. Main thing is having a right association. Having a right association. Our mind, because this is a conditioning of the mind, our mind needs a prolonged exposure of spiritual subject matters, of spiritual substance to make a change. So in the beginning years, we are totally dependent, just like a small baby who's dependent on the parents. So we should be careful in the the founding years of our Krishna consciousness. We should be very eager for all the opportunity to associate with devotees, sadhus. Therefore, I heard about this, like His Honor Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj during the time of initiation, when the interview happens, one question that Maharaj particularly asked, so, do you come every week to temple? And if in case the devotee will say, Maharaj, मैं पीछे 3 महीने से नहीं आ पाया, Maharaj will say, all right, 3 महीने तुम्हारा दीक्षा delay. You have to every week come to temple. It's just a science. It doesn't work otherwise. And if in case devotee says, Maharaj, हाँ Maharaj, हम आते हैं Maharaj, नहीं भी आते Maharaj करके, तो Maharaj will ask the temple president, so, have you seen this fellow? Does he do some service or not? Maharaj would ask for confirmation. And now, that lifeline is a hand of the temple president. Maharaj, who is this fellow? Never saw him. Maharaj would say, get out. If in case that's the response, I'm just joking. If in case that's the response, would not happen. So pretty interesting like that. So the point is, conditional mind, that prolonged exposure, weekly, we should be in touch. All right, great. That was about Usaha. Now let's go to the next aspect is Nishyad. Usaha, Nishyad means confidence. The subject matter of confidence is Krishna is my only protector. Of course, it takes time. The faith takes time. It is of the stage of Nishta and beyond. But let's see what Prabhupada defines here. Mother Kishori Rani, you can read it.
These activities must be executed with patience. One should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. Indeed,
Sorry, that's Dharyat. Okay, actually, here Prabhupada have clubbed both Nishyat and Dharyat. So what you're reading is patience, the subject matter of Dharyat. Now, why patience? I'll just make one point because Prabhupada has started speaking of Dharyat here. Why Dharyat? Because why? Okay, well, let me ask this question to all of you. Why do you need patience? What's the significance of? It's a very, very important term which is used by Rupa Goswami here. Why is he saying that we need patience in our path, in our journey of Krishna consciousness? It has to have some very, very important significance. That's what reason he has brought it here. And this is about which enhances your bhakti. So having patience enhances your bhakti. Why? The first reason is whoever we are, there are going to be a lot of challenges on the path of bhakti. Challenges from our friends and family members, challenges from the society. They may or may not accept our newfound love or aspiration. And then also we need patience with ourselves also. We're not going to be an overnight Goswami. Our anathas is going to take time. Okay, even the gross anathas are taken care. Then what about subtle anathas, particularly pride, etc.? And that takes longer period. And whenever these anathas manifest, then Krishna has his own way of humbling us down. Devi Shuganamai Mama Maya Duratyate. It's only possible by the mercy of the Lord. And if in case we commit aparadh. Okay, I haven't spoken about this, but we can make a point here. There are two things in the path of bhakti. One is papa karma, Second is aparadha. Papa karma is sinful activity. Aparadha means which withdraws the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Of these two, we all know, we all have studied so far. Aparadha is more grave, more dangerous. And of that, foremost is Vaishnava Aparadha, as we know. There is a Vaishnava Aparadha, Seva Aparadha. We read all this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. How do we understand this Papa Karma and Aparadha? A very beautiful example was given by one of the seniors, and it was defined. Imagine you're driving your car on a highway and it begins to rain. When it rains, your vision becomes hazy. You cannot see further, you cannot see ahead clearly. That is about pap karma. When a person engages into sinful activities, his mind becomes again covered over by material desires. His aspirations, spiritual aspiration, gets covered over. He really has to work hard to follow the right path then, which means the spiritual direction gets lost for him. That is about papa karma. However, if a driver driving a car, when he meets an accident and when he's caught by the police, that is called as aparadha. So in a pap karma, your direction could be lost. You may get distracted from the path of bhakti. But aparadha means you lost everything. You're caught by the police as a case of accident. So here, with our anathas also, we might have to have some patience. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita begins with the very first instruction is Matas Pashastu Kaunteya Shitoshna Sukadukada Agama Paino Nitya Stam Stitikshva Bharata. Have patience, Arjuna. All right, go ahead, Madana.
These activities must be executed with patience. One should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. Indeed, this Krishna consciousness movement was started single-handedly, and in the beginning there was no response. But because we continue to execute our devotional activities with patience, people gradually began to understand the importance of this movement, and now they are eagerly participating. One should not be impatient in discharging devotional service, but should take instructions from the spiritual master and execute them with patience, depending on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. The successful execution of Krishna conscious activities requires both patience and confidence. A newly married girl.
Yeah. So this was about Dharya. Now Prabhupada will speak about Nishyad, where Prabhupada will give an example of how a newly married girl expects an offspring from her husband. Continue reading, Mother.
A newly married girl naturally expects offspring from her husband, but she cannot expect to have them immediately after marriage. Of course, as soon as she is married, she can attempt to get a child, but she must surrender to her husband, confident that her child will develop and be born in due time. Similarly, in devotional service, surrender means that one has to become confident. The devotee thinks, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called confidence.
Hare Krishna. So in this purport, Prabhupada spoke both about Nishyad and Dharyat. Usahan, Nishya, Dharyat. So first Prabhupada spoke about Dharyat, patience. Gave an example, his own personal life example that, we started all alone. There was nobody, but we patiently carried out our devotional activities, depending on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And then Prabhupada spoke about Nishyat, confidence that Krishna is my protector. That's how Prabhupada defined. Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution of devotional service. This is called as confidence. All right. Now, the next favorable item is Tat Karma Pavartanat. Let's read that further. Who would like to read here? Madharanjana, go ahead.
As already explained, one should not be idle, but should be very enthusiastic about executing the regulative principle, Tattva Karma Pravartana. Neglect of the regulative principles will destroy devotional service. In this Krishna consciousness movement, there are four basic regulative principles: forbidding illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. A devotee must be very enthusiastic about following these principles. If he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. Sri Rupa Goswami therefore recommends Tatra Karma Pravartana. One must strictly follow the regulative principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. In order to, uh, in addition to these four prohibitions, Yama, there are positive regulative principles, Niyama, such as the daily chanting of 16 rounds on Jap Mala beads. These regulative activities must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. This is called Tassa Karma Pravartana or varied engagement in devotional service.
Hare Krishna. So, in this, the reason why Tattat Karma Pravartana is mentioned here, in the previous verse, it was only mentioned Niyam Agraha, Niyam Agraha. Now, here it talks about what to be followed. And there are two things, as we said. One is the set of instructions we know from Bhagavatam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaran, Pada, Sevanam. And then the 64 devotional items mentioned by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, of which 5 Sadhu Sangha, Nama, Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan, and Mathurava, Srimurtira, Shraddhaya Sevan. These are the 5. So these are the things that we should follow diligently. Of these 5 elements, कहते हैं साधु संघ नाम कीर्तन भागवत श्रवण मथुरवास श्रीमूर्ति श्रद्धया सेवन, the most important of the 5 is a nama sankirtana. Before I just continue the next subject, I just missed the point. When it is said dhairyat, have patience, therefore if you try to relate it to the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says tranadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanadena manadena kirtanya sadahari. Again, if you want to chant, continuously chant the holy names of the Lord, the aspect of dharyat, patience is needed. Don't be attracted, don't be attached to the idea that people should honor you. Give all respect to others. And tranadapi, be humble. Knowing the fact, if anything has happened, it is my past karma. What is it? Tatte nukampam sumakshamanu bhunjane vatma kritam vipakam. So this instruction that is there, Usahanishan Dharyat, is just to facilitate and bring us to the 7th shloka of this Upadeshamrita, that is about Shyat Krishna Namacharita Sitapi Vidya Pitopatapsta Rasanasya Narochikano, which means chanting the holy names of the Lord. Now, Usaha is needed to wake up in the morning, confidence is needed, Dharyat is needed, Tattat Kama Pavartanat, which means we have to take to the process of chanting holy names. And here comes a very interesting thing. Along with this, now if you see all this from the perspective of that how all instructions have been given just to facilitate devotee can chant, now comes the next set of thing is Jana Sangha, right? No, sorry, Sangha Tyagat. Sangha Tyagat, Sato Vritti. So for this, if you want to chant, so Tattat Kama Pavartanat, if you focus on the subject matter of the most important regulation is to chant. Trinadapi Sunichena, therefore I quoted that. For that reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Asadhu Sangete Bhai Nama Nahi Haya Nama Akshara Bhahiraya Bate Nama Kabunaya. This is quoted in Prema Vivata, 7th chapter. It is said, Asadhu Sangate Bhai Nama Nahi Haya. If somebody is taking a Sangha, association of Asadhu, Asadhu Sangete Bhai Nama Nahi Haya, you cannot chant the holy names of the Lord. Nama Akshara Bhai Raya Bate Nama Kabunaya. The sound of the holy name may come out of your mouth, but this will not really be the name. We may be chanting Hare Krishna, but as long as we have the association of this Asat or Asadhu, it may seem like we are chanting, but that will not be the real name. Now it brings us to subject matter of Sangha Tyagat. Why it is so important for us to give up the association of karmis, jnanis, yogis, and other non-devotees. So let's read. Rakesh Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you share the reference of that verse, Prabhu, what you said?
Is Prema Vivartaha, 7th chapter, point 1.
Thank you, Prabhu.
There are many verses like this. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are many verses quoted like this. All right, what were you saying? Next paragraph. Yes, Rakesh.
Furthermore, in order to be successful in devotional service, one must give up the association of undesirable people. This includes karmis, jnanis, yogis, and other non-devotees. Once Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by one of his householder devotees about the general principles of Vaishnavism, as well as the general routine activities of the Vaishnava. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately replied, Asat Sanga Tyaga, a Vaishnava Acharya. Characteristically, a Vaishnava is one who gives up the association of worldly people or non-devotees. Srila Narottama Das Thakura has therefore recommended Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sane Vasa. One has to live in the company of pure devotees and execute the regulative principles laid down by the previous acharyas. 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, and Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami. If one lives in the association of the devotees, there is little chance of associating with non-devotees. The International Society for Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Consciousness is opening.
Okay, continue. Finish that line.
Krishna Consciousness is opening many centers just to invite people to live in the company of devotees and practice the regulative principles of spiritual life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhupada goes two verses here. One is by Sri Narottama Das Thakur, very famous. Tandera Charana Sevi, Bhakta Saneva, stay in the association of devotees. Another verse, this is from Madhya Leela, found in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The whole verse is Asas Sangatyaga E Vaishnavacha, Stri Sangi Ek Asadu, Krishna Abhakta Ar. So two kind of association we should give up, which is said to be Asas Sangha. One is Stri Sangi or Yosis Sangi. Another is Krishna Abhakta, non-devotee one who is averse to the service or to the bhakti of Krishna. Stri Sangi, Yoshi Sangi means one who is too attached to the sensual pleasures, and it holds vice versa. It could be a man attached to a woman attached to man. This should be given up. These are sense enjoyers, and other is one who has no relation to Krishna. This kind of association should be given up. And why to be given up? Because in their association, we cannot really chant properly the holy names of the Lord. Tat tat karma pavatanat would not happen like this. And for that, Prabhupada says, therefore, to facilitate to the masses so that they have an opportunity to chant, to take part in the holy names of the Lord, ISKCON has created centers all over the world who invites them to live in the company of Vaishnavas and practice the regulative principles of spiritual life. That's the subject matter of Tat Tat Karma. Sangat Yagat. That's subject matter. Now, Sattva Vritti. Let's have another devotee reader the next. Mother Bhagavati Karuna. Please read the next paragraph.
Devotional service means transcendental activities. On the transcendental platform, there is no contamination by the three modes of material nature. This is called Visuddha Sattva, the platform of pure goodness or goodness free from contamination by the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this Krishna conscious movement, we require everyone to rise early in the morning by 4 a.m. and attend Mangalarti or morning worship, then read Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtana and so forth. Thus, we hold continuous activities in devotional service 24 hours daily. This is called Sattva Vritti, or following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. Hare Krishna.
So that is Sattva Vritti. This is called following in the footsteps of the previous acharya who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. A very interesting purport. Next paragraph. Prabhupada says, if somebody follows us strictly. Murli Mohan Prabhu, continue reading. Next paragraph.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavad Pranam.
Yeah.
If one strictly follows the advice given in this verse by Srila Rupa Goswami, namely being enthusiastic, being confident, being patient, giving up the association of unwanted persons, following the regulative principles, and remaining in the association of devotees, one is sure to advance in devotional service. In this regard, Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura remarks that the cultivation of knowledge by philosophical speculation, the collection of mundane opulence, by the advancement of fruitive activities and the desire for yoga siddhis, material perfections, are all contrary to the principles of devotional service. One has to become thoroughly cautious to such non-permanent activities and turn his intention instead to the regulative principles of devotional service. According to Bhagavad Gita 2.69, Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jaganti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani tanisha pasyato munaha. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night to the introspective sage. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So after this, what begins is a conclusion where Prabhupada is concluding it. We'll read that or discuss it after a break. Before we get into a quick break, just want to highlight a point here. Prabhupada's the major subject matter that Prabhupada is emphasizing here is how the bhakti is not merely a subject matter of imitation, but bhakti is a subject matter of cultivation. And which means one has to follow the rules and regulations. One cannot just, with artificial tears, present himself as a devotee. There's an interesting story comes from the time of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I'll just quote that and then we'll take a few minutes break. There was one very famous dramatist by the name of Girish Chandra Ghosh. And he decided to make a drama on the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was known in his time to be a great follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he decided to invite Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur to give an opening remark and to be present for the drama. However, Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't accept the offer. Why he didn't accept the offer is very interesting. The role of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was performed. It's old English, so I don't know what it means, but it is mentioned like there was a lady by the name of Vinodini, and I don't know if you call it an actor that time, but it is addressed as prostitute. So a role of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was played by this lady who was known as a prostitute. Her name was Vinodini. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he got to know of it, he said, no, I cannot be present for such a drama. So when Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't accept the proposal to be the chief guest for this particular dramas and show. You remember, I guess some of you might have seen when you were growing up, the TVs were not there much. So सड़कों पे नौटंकियां हुआ करती थी या दिवाली के समय में दशहरे के समय में और ड्रामा हुआ करते थे. The theatrical performance was very famous before like this. So that kind of theatrical performance there. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, no, I'm not going to go. And then this Girish Chandra Ghoshi, he invited Ramakrishna, Bengal famous Ramakrishna ji. So Ramakrishna immediately accepted this invitation. He went. And Vinodini performed brilliant acting. So when the role play would come of chanting the holy names, she would chant and she would cry as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Ramakrishna, when he saw it is mentioned, when Ramakrishna saw this, he was also moved in tears. He was so much moved by the performance. When the whole show ended, it is mentioned, described that he went and looked out for that performer, that lady. He wanted to meet her and he wanted to congratulate her. And he did meet her and congratulated her and said, oh, what a brilliant performance. You moved all of us in bhakti. You invoked bhakti in our heart. And it is mentioned, even the performer was surprised and shocked, saying that, oh, I was just doing acting. And he was glorifying. You have such a devotion to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to Krishna that while performing the act, you were crying. And the performer said, well, I was actually doing acting. I don't know much about them. So here the point is mentioned, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, no, I'm not going to be part of such drama where this kind of, imitation practice is there, but there's no actual, practice or the cultivation of bhakti. So in other words, Prabhupada is saying, when it is mentioned in this set of verses, just we read the previous verse, niyamagraha. Bhakti is a process. Bhakti has to be cultivated. And that process, or any process for that reason, is governed by certain rules and regulations. And while following those rules and regulations, which are 4 regulative principles, accompanied with 9 limbs of bhakti, Shravanam Kirtana Vishnu, Smaranapas Sevana Archana Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atma Nivedanam, or the 5 most important aspects of devotional service, that is Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan, Bhagavad Shravan, Mathurava, Shrimutira, Shraddhaya Sevan. Of that, the most important is Nama Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, can only be accomplished when there is Ussaha, Nishayat, Dhairyat, Sanga Tyagat, and Satovriti. And all of this, if you see, is centered around having a right association. Ussaha, Nisha, Dhairyat, it all comes from Satovriti, having the right association in one's life, and Sanga Tyagat. When you have a right association, obviously you'll give it the bad association. That's how one makes a progress in bhakti. And this is how Prabhupada is going to give a conclusion. So let's take a break. Around 1:50, we'll go until 2:30 today. So we'll take a 10 minutes break. We'll come back at 2 o'clock. And for the last 30 minutes, we'll take the last few paragraphs of this verse. And if in case there are any discussion, we'll open the forum for any discussion then. All right. Hare Krishna. Jagadru Srila Prabhupada ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes. Somebody saying something?
Yeah,
Yes, mother.
Prabhuji. See, Prabhuji, my daughter is having dance class at 10 o'clock. So can I leave
Sure,
15 minutes
mother.
before?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's okay. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Ussahan Nishayat Dharyat, Tat Tat Karma Pavartanat, Sangatyagat, Sato Vrittihi, Sadbhir Bhakti, Prasidhyati. And the major aspect of a devotional life, one of the most important component of devotional life is Nama Sankirtan. And to be able to follow that rule of chanting the holy names of the Lord, these are the aspects which I mentioned. One should be enthusiastic, one should be confident that I have Krishna's protection, the Haryat have patience. Tatat Karma Pavartanat, following the prescribed regulations. Sangatyagat, giving a bad association. Sato Vrittihi, Anushilanam. Bhagavad Gita also mentions 8th chapter, 7th and the 8th verse, following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. Shadbhir bhaktihi prasidhyati. This all flourishes bhakti. Coming to the concluding part of the puppet here, reading the puppet. This is after that verse, Yanisha Sarvabhutanam, the following puppet, we are reading it. Engagement in the devotional service of the Lord is the life and soul of the living entity. It is a desired goal and supreme perfection of human life. One has to become confident about this. One also has to be confident that all activities other than devotional service, such as mental speculation, furtive work, or mystic endeavor, will never yield any enduring benefit. So here another definition of confidence is given. One should be confident on the goal, that it is the highest. Tasyeva hetu prayate kovidu na labhate. Pari Madan, like this Narad Muni says. One should be confident that this is the ultimate perfection. Complete confidence in the path of devotional service will enable one to attain his desired goal. But attempting to follow other paths, karma, jnana, etc., will only succeed in making one restless. 7th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, one must be calmly convinced that those who have given up devotional service to engage in severe austerities for other purposes are not purified in their minds despite their advanced austerities, because they have no information of the transcendental loving service of the Lord. It is further stated in the 7th canto, although mental speculators and furtive actors may perform great austerities and penances, they still fall down because they do not have information about the lotus feet of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord, however, never fall down. In Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse number 31. So the focus on confidence, or what should be one confident about, that is what here. And now Prabhupada is quoting about Kaunteha pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. Devotee knows that Krishna is going to protect. Krishna has promised in Bhagavad Gita. And for that, Prabhupada quotes this 9th chapter, verse number 31. And he also quotes Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, verse number 40. What to speak about those who are practicing devotee? Neha vikramanashasti pratyavayo navityate swa alpa. Swa alpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayad. One who has practiced even for a short while, not even short while, for the shortest while, even he can be saved from the greatest danger. So this is a subject matter discussion on confidence. We should be confident about what we are doing. And now finally Prabhupada describes the glories of bhakti, how glorious bhakti is. Mother Priyanka and then Mother Sangeeta and then Mithil Prabhu, you all can read respective paragraphs. Devotional service is so pure. Mother Priyanka, please read.
Hare Krishna. Devotional service is so pure and perfect that being once having begun, one is forcibly dragged to ultimate success. Sometimes a person will give up his ordinary material engagements and out of sentiment take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and thus begin the preliminary execution of devotional service. Even if such an immature devotee falls down, there is no loss of on his part. On the other hand, what is the gain of one who executes the prescribed duties according to his varna and ashrama, but does not take to devotional service. Although a fallen devotee may take his next birth in a low family, his devotional service will non-worthless resume from where it left off. Devotional service is a haikuti pratihata. It is not the effect of any mundane cause, nor can be terminated by any mundane or permanently curtailed by any material interruption. Therefore, a devotee should be confident about his engagement and should not be very interested in the activities of the karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Shall I continue?
Hare Krishna. Therefore, a devotee should be confident about his engagement and should not be very interested in the activities of karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Mother Sangeeta,
Hare
a
Krishna Prabhu.
devotee is only a Mahatma. Yes, go ahead.
There are certainly many good qualities among fruitive actors, philosophical speculators, and mystic yogis, but all good qualities automatically develop in the character of a devotee. No extraneous endeavor is needed. As confirmed by Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12, all the good qualities of the demigods progressively become manifest in one who has developed pure devotional service. Because a devotee is not interested in any material activity, he does not become materially contaminated. He is immediately situated on the platform of transcendental life. However, one who engages in mundane activity, be he a so-called jnani, yogi, karmi, philanthropist, nationalist, or whatever, cannot attain the higher stage of Mahatma. He remains a Duratma or cripple-minded person. According to Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritah bhajanti ananya manaso jnatva bodhatim avyayam. O son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible.
Hare Krishna. So devotee alone is a Mahatma. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. Among all fruitive activists, philosophical speculators, and mystic yoga. If you see, this is also again about the subject matter of nishayat, confidence. There are 6 items of confidence which is mentioned here. I'll describe that in summary. Let's go to the last paragraph, conclusion here. Mithil Prabhu, go ahead.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat.
Since all the devotees of the Lord are under the protection of His supreme potency, they should not deviate from the path of devotional service and take to the path of karmi, jnani, or yogi. This is called utsahana nishchayada dhairyata tata karma pravartanata, enthusiastically executing the regulative activities of devotional service with patience and confidence. In this way, one can advance in devotional service without hindrance. Hare Krishna.
So what has happened so far is we are fixing ourselves in a right consciousness like this. And now we are making ourselves qualified to actually do sadhu sangha. So therefore, in the mantra 4, how do we associate with sadhus? I mean, there has to be certain prerequisites also to, develop an intimate relationship with Vaishnavas, certain kind of understanding. So that has been established. Certain faults have to be given up. Certain good qualities have to be accepted. And now the mantra number 4 will talk about the 6 loving exchanges. And there's something not that which is not found in mundane relationship. It is found. But here comes the warning. The 6 loving exchanges should largely be executed with the devotees. Because wherever we lend our ears to hear, so to whoever we hear from, and that's what our mind begins to think. So that will be subject matter then we discuss next time. So here in this particular purport, if you look at the whole flow of the purport gives a major emphasis on one particular aspect, that is confidence. One should have confidence, nishayat. One should have confidence on the process of bhakti. And Prabhupada describes the glories of bhakti, etc., etc. So there's 6 items of confidence that Prabhupada mentions. The first item is perfection. Bhakti is life and soul. In other words, the highest tasya bhaito pratyeta kovita, this was mentioned just now, when we started in the conclusion. Bhakti is the highest. Bhakti is the goal, bhakti is the perfection. There is nothing greater than that. That is the confidence we need. First, perfection. Second is protection. Neha Bhikarunashasti, Kantya Prati Jani, Prabhupada just mentioned about it. Or as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Avashya Rakshi Bihi Krishna. One who takes shelter of the Lord will definitely protect. That is protection. So perfection, bhakti is the highest. The confidence that protection is guaranteed when one takes to the shelter of this process. And third, profit. Profit in the sense, as Prabhupada mentioned, very beautiful line. One is forcefully dragged to perfection. You remember? Devotion service is so pure and perfect that once having begun, one is forcefully dragged to ultimate success, which means pure and perfect. So when one takes to the path of bhakti, the profit is, first of all, there is no loss. Whatever you have done, you start from there, even if it's incomplete in one life. Second, just begin your journey, you are forcefully dragged to ultimate success. That confidence. Third is powerful. Ahetuki apratihata. In other words, is causeless. One who takes to the shelter of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord, Vasudeva Bhagavati, Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, Janayati Asu, Vairagyam, Gnanam Chayat, Ahitukam. He gets all the knowledge and he becomes automatically detached from the things of this world. So it's so powerful. 6th canto, 1st chapter talks about how do you uproot the seeds of desires to enjoy senses. By the process of bhakti, all that desires are uprooted. All those desires are burned to ashes like this. So that's the power of bhakti. So that's the confidence, perfection, protection, profit, and powerful. And then productive. How it is productive? One who takes to the path of bhakti, he doesn't have to do anything else, just practice bhakti, everything will fall in place. How would fall in place? Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana. Sarve Gune Satra. So, that particular verse, which means by just taking to the path of bhakti, all the good qualities develops in an individual, divine qualities of demigods. That's productive. And the last is pure Mahatmanas, Tumam Partha. Bhakti is performed under the internal potency of the Lord. No material contamination can affect it. Om apavitro pavitro va sarva vashtam gato piva yas merit pundari kaksham sama suchihi, like that. So these 6 elements of confidence which are mentioned in this particular purport, I'll highlight this again. You can please read it and then mark it for yourself how Prabhupada have discussed the 6 points of confidence. First is perfection. Second is profit, protection. Third is profit. Fourth is productive. Fifth is powerful. And sixth is all pure. And that is the glories of Bhakti defined in mantra number 3. With that, we conclude here our discussion on this text. Any comments or any clarifications? Anyone has anything to ask on this subject matter? माधव कृपा प्रभु क्या कर रहे हो? योगासन कर रहे हो? क्या कर रहे हो?
No, I am actually traveling, not driving, but yeah, sitting.
Okay. I saw
had
your
to come
hands.
to.
I saw your hands up. I thought you were sitting in a yogasana. That's a good time to do
No,
yoga. Okay. All right. So thank you all for joining in.
Prabhu, we have the quiz.
No quiz, mother. I just couldn't create it. We'll have a quiz for you we'll have the quiz on the website. Another week or two, my schedule would be a little bit in my control. I'm just running from pole to post right now. So then we'll be more organized. We'll have your surprise quizzes. Yes, Mother Manju.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I had a problem with the I'm putting my this thing absenteeism and this thing, but it's not happening actually. Last week also I did, and this week also it is not.
Mother, we just discussed. Have full confidence on Krishna.
Okay, bro.
He is observing your sincerity, and you'll be allowed to give exam. Don't lose faith. We just discussed 6 parameters of confidence.
Okay.
And right after the class, you're expressing your fear. No. You should become fearless. All right. Don't worry about it.
Okay, bro. Okay, Prabhu, I had a question regarding this session.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhu, you said about this enthusiasm. Enthusiasm at the first part is very much high when you get into bhakti. But after a certain stage, like 15, 16 years is over, it's a bit of complacency. So how do we just maintain that?
I guess the complacency begins from the 5th year onwards only. Maybe we realize after the 15th year. It's not like that. Now, why did you realize after the 15th year is where whatever we were practicing, we are not even having taste in it now.
Okay.
That's the reason we are kind of feeling that, I'm become complacent. So therefore, this two things I spoke in that regard is sin, and second is aparadh. So sin is probably taken care to some extent. I'm not saying exactly, to some extent possible, but aparadh is a major factor where we all struggle with. Vaishnava aparadh is of that the foremost. Then we also have seva aparadh. We read in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So there is this beautiful verse actually comes. One second. I'll just pull that out. It's really appropriate for your concern right now. This comes in the 11th canto. Give me 1 second. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just 1 second. Yeah, this is from 11th canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 42. And beautiful verse. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Bhakti parishanubhavo virakte anyatra chaisha trika eka kalaha prapadyamanasya yathashnatasyas tushti pushti shud apayo anughasam. Translation, what it says: devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously. Bhakti, parishanubhava, and virakti. These are three things which occurs simultaneously. For one, anitra chaisatrika eka kalaha. Prapadyamanasya yathashnatasya, one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. In the same way, analogy is given in this verse, in the same way that pleasure, tushti, pushti, and shuddhapaya. Shuddhapaya means relief from hunger. It comes simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. So tushti, pushti, shuddhapayo, it happens automatically, which means pleasure, nourishment. Can we have a mute here? Yeah. Tushti, pushti, shuddhapayo. Pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger happens simultaneously when we are eating properly. Similarly, those who are engaged in the process of bhakti, who has taken the shelter of the Lord properly, bhakti, parishanubhava, virakti, these three things should happen. So, long story short, is a subject matter of self-analysis. And my humble understanding of the subject matter, it really doesn't matter we have been around for how long. What matters is for whatever time we are here, are we able to work in consultation and under guidance to whatever degree? Because if you see, one of the very important aspect of this is sato vritti, following in the footsteps of predecessor acharyas. And that's how we are nourished in bhakti. So to overcome the situation of complacency, we have to have association of enthusiastic devotees. What enthusiastic devotees? I mean, in a community, in a large community, for it to be really growing forward, you need to have senior Vaishnavas and you also have to have juniors. Because those who are seniors, generally those numbers reduces. But those who are seniors, they're enthusiastic, and the other audience which is enthusiastic are the juniors. The new bhaktas. Everyone in the middle, they're hanging like the Shanku. So we need this new bhaktas who are coming in, and you have seen how excited they are to do devotions. Like, yes, Prabhuji, yes, Mataji, tell me what to do. And you're looking at them. Kabhi ek zamane mein hamare andar bhi utsaha hua karta tha. So, therefore, preaching is so essential to make new bhaktas. So you see them and you feel like, yaar, I should also be enthusiastic like them. How they run to take to devotion service. So generally, you will find that this number to be more. And the seniors who are there, generally that number reduces, not because they're not around, just because their engagements increases so much that their time is very limited now for us. So opportunity to associate with them becomes more and more, what I mean to say, rare. So that balance has to be there like this, and that's how we can take some clue for enthusiasm. All right. If in any community there is only so-called seniors and only their middle-aged Vaishnavas, and there are no active preaching going on, no new bhaktas are being created, wahan pe dullness is but natural. It will become lackadaisical. It becomes difficult. Yes. I hope that answers, Mother Manju.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Ramesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad pranam. Prabhu, can you elaborate a little bit more on the association of not to associate with non-devotees? Because originally we also were once upon a time like a kind of non-devotee, and because of our association with devotees coming to us and then inspiring and getting association of devotees, we were become Krishna consciousness. So, I mean, before that also we used to have like kind of circle where all are non-devotees. And if you have to actually ask for donations or for their like book distribution or for Damodar Puja and everything, we do need to have kind of associate with them. Then how can we reconcile this statement?
Correct. So this thing would become more clear when we read mantra 4. So association in the sense what it means to be, you give association, but not take their association. You don't lend your ears to them to allow them to feed in to you about the life. So the next text which talks about loving exchanges. So our faith, our dependency should transform from that relationships to the devotees, because that creates our bright future. However, in the beginning, it could be towards our mundane friends and all that. That has to transform to devotees. But as far as we are living in this world, we have to engage with everyone. Yeah. So it is not that we don't associate. The association that we are talking about here is associate in the sense of Tadati pratigranati, guyamakati prachati, bunkate bhojatai chaiva, sidvidhi pratilakshanam, which will be discussed next time as a part of our discussion, ongoing discussion. We should not associate in that manner. You're going to office, you associate people. How can you not associate? Just because you speak to somebody, you talk to somebody, you laugh with someone, it doesn't mean you're associating that way. Because that association, you don't take it seriously what they tell you. So association, which is kind of discussed here, that association, which you take seriously, you get influenced by them. And as far as possible, minimize it. Because we still have lingering desires. If you move in such circles more, then all those desires will begin to come out again and again. Because in their association, you cannot not hear them talk about mundane affairs. And the moment you lend your ears, then again, there is this prajalpa entering in that creates confusion in the mind. It invokes all those mundane desires, which somehow has got covered over by our practice of devotional service, has not got uprooted, but it's just covered over. It's not visible to us at this point in time because it's not on the surface of our consciousness, but it's still there. And if we associate for anything beyond a specific purpose, then it's going to cause a damage. So we can have a very meaningful association, purpose-oriented association. If this is office life, I do this, that's all. But don't make it a close interaction where you have to be part of their lifestyle. That's what it needs to be.
If we reduce the association of those non-devotees, and then at the time of like when we want kind of, the donations or like, as I said about, then it gives an impression, okay, this guy comes only once in a to approach me.
Correct. So there comes a subject matter of being, using the intelligence. How do we facilitate that? Which is a very valid question you're asking. Somebody will say, Krishna Janmashtami hoti hai, to hamare paas aate hain, आओ, event पे आओ. और जब हम इनके पास गणेश चतुर्थी के समारोह के लिए जाते हैं, कहते हैं हम अटेंड नहीं करते. So which is obvious. So we do show up. We go, show up, meet them for few minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes, and then come back. We don't we don't take advantage of that opportunity to spend time there, saying that I've gone for service. And anyways, would you agree or not, they're least bothered with you. If in case it is only devotee association where people may call and check with you, Arey Prabhu, aap aaye nahi aaj? Outside association, nobody cares for you. But it's just because it facilitates their sense gratification. So then they just want to see people are there or not there. So from that point of view, just go for a few minutes, ek attendance laga kar aa jao. So this much exchange, so we have to keep it. And that is needed. All right. Mother Kishore Rani, you have something or still your hand is up for reading?
No, Prabhuji, I just wanted, you said about those 5 processes, Sadhu, Sangha, Nam, Kirtan, Bhagavad, Shravanam, Mathura Vas, and what was the last one?
Shri Murtira, Shraddhaya Sevan, DT worship.
Okay.
All
Thank you,
right.
Prabhuji. Yes. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining us for this. I will confirm you for next Saturday because next Saturday onwards GBC meetings are starting here. So I need to check. I believe it was GBC meetings are starting from, I believe, Monday or Tuesday. So I'll have to confirm if my availability. I'll make sure we don't skip the class, but I'll get to know of it by Friday only of my, availability, how it is. So as of now, count it. We are meeting it. If not, because the following weekend, anyways, we cannot meet. So I'll make sure that we meet this week because I'm kind of out for 2-3 weeks now. All right. So at least in October, we'll try to discuss Mantra 4, Dadati Pratigranati, that much. And then we'll see in November. Jagadru Shila